Hey everybody, how's your day going? Oh, come on, it's beautiful out. Right on. Okay, thanks. I think this will be a fun talk. I'm excited to take some questions at the end and make it interactive. But everybody having a good time at SaaStr? Yes. Yeah, good turnout. I love the outdoor venues. So actually, I'll back up. So generative AI and the inversion of SaaS, presented by AWS. I'm Adam Seligman. I'll tell you a little bit about me. I hope the provocative title got your attention. Okay, we're going to get into it, what I mean by that, and I think it's some fun back and forth. I'll start with a little bit about me. I'm Adam SE on the site that shall not be named, the social media site that shall no longer be named. I've been at AWS just over 2 years, so 2021, middle of the pandemic, and I'm responsible for a product area called Generative Builders. And you might be wondering what that means. And that's like this whole set of new tools that's emerging to help people build applications that don't require you to be an expert, like full stack expert cloud developer. And so some of the products we've released in those categories include the Amplify family and AppSync, our GraphQL, managed GraphQL solution. And then some new tools we're working on that we haven't released yet that I'm pretty excited to bring soon. And I probably like many of the familiar faces in this crowd, I worked in the industry with stints at Google, Salesforce, and Microsoft. So I've kind of been on each and every side of this amazing journey to the cloud and SaaS and mobile and social and now AI. And if you know me for a while, you know I firmly believe in one thing above all else in this tech industry, which is you don't have to be this tall to ride the rides. And I believe anybody should be able to build applications, solutions, cloud solutions. And not just the 25, 27 million expert programmers in the world, but maybe 100 million people, maybe more million people, many more million people than that. Is anybody with me in that desire to get there? Can I just get a check? Yes? Yeah, you don't have to be an expert to be able to build things. That's like a long-term goal for me that I believe in for my career. Okay, so I'll start with this, the inversion of SaaS. And I'm hoping many of you were scratching your head saying, what the what? What the hell does that mean? Okay, good. I got you in the door, and we can talk about it. And what I'm going to do, the hypothesis here, is that lots of stuff that you've come here over many years, and you've built into your businesses, and you've built your careers on, is actually going to change quite a lot very soon. And lots of assumptions and sort of standard ways that SaaS businesses work is going to change. Now, I'm not claiming it's already all changed and SaaS is easy and the old problems have gone away, but I want to give sort of like a line of sight to the future because I think the future might look really different. And again, I'm going to do that with examples and evidence and data points, like we're connecting the dots and we're going to see where the line goes, but I'm not claiming we're there already. Now, one other thing that I just want to mention is I'm going to use lots of examples. But the examples are examples I like. They're not endorsements. So if you work for one of these companies, hooray. If you work for a competitor, one of these companies, I love you. You're awesome also. And this space is moving so incredibly fast. I bet you have some of your favorites also. Does that sound like a good terrain to cover? Yeah? You're probably wondering common assumptions about SaaS, inversion of SaaS. OK. I picked 4. I may not have gotten one you like, but I picked 4 common things I hear a lot, especially in B2B SaaS, that I thought we could pick apart a little bit. Sound good? First one is you need to have deep domain expertise to design the app. You need that deep understanding of the domain, either with a founder or with your head of product. Somebody that really understands the business domain that your users are in, so you have that really high empathy level. It's all this subtlety, right? A lot of SaaS sometimes is really finding the precise sub-niche that you're in and those users' particular needs, the way they think, the way they want to work. You might differentiate from other existing SaaS because you just kind of tuned a little bit to the particular subset of users or customers in a particular subcategory. And there's also things like regulatory requirements or reporting requirements or audit requirements that are kind of weird and specialized, and you have to kind of know that industry to enter that industry. So I'll pause there. Does that sound like something that's pretty familiar? Yes? We do got to make this interactive. Help me out. Yeah, you got to know a business to build a SaaS for business, right? I think that's pretty conventional wisdom. Okay, the second thing. it is expensive and time-consuming to build software. You got to write a lot of code. It's a lot of like custom UI. It's got to like look nice and fit the user's needs, have that like flow. You know, customers try a SaaS, doesn't have a great UX, doesn't like work fast, doesn't have the features they want. They bounce from it, right? So does everybody agree? Like, yeah, build times takes a long time. It's a big chunk of this business. Yes? If anybody's got like the secret answer, and engineering is actually like a tiny little piece, I would like to know how you do it, and we'll build that into more builder products. So let me know. OK, so the third one. It's difficult for customers to configure, integrate, and extend. I was at Salesforce for a while, and I worked on the platform for a long time. And we saw this over and over again. I don't think there's any surprise that customers, they don't just want the product you have today. They want the product that fits their unique needs. They want a little different for their custom workflow. They want to integrate it with their data sources or third-party things or vendors or suppliers. And it's good news is you have a big backlog. The bad news is you have a big backlog, right? And in many cases, I think the really big SaaS companies, Salesforce is one, there are many others, they end up having to build a lot of extensibility into the product also, so customers can kind of like self-serve and like change the workflow or change the screens or extend the data model. And that turns out to be a big lift, like when you're further in your journey. You kind of get started and you're struggling to keep up, but then the universe of things customer wants gets bigger and bigger. Does this sound familiar? Yes? Come on, help me out here. OK, well, you're on your journey. Trust me, when you're really big, your customers will ask you forever for more things than you can build in any one quarter. So you're always going to have more stuff and more special exotic stuff that they want. OK, now this last one. I got nothing to stand behind, so don't throw anything at me. Go-to-market is expensive and labor-intensive, OK? Just like the whole mechanics of getting a SaaS product to market, making customers aware, hooking their interest, qualifying, discovery, all that stuff takes a lot of time and labor, right? And I've known some amazing, amazing sales and BD and SAs and SDRs in this business. Does everybody agree? Like, this is a big chunk of running a great SaaS business is running a great go-to-market motion, right? And it's hard. So hard. Yes? OK. Now, I'm going to knock all those over, OK? And hopefully you won't knock me over. So I assert that generative AI kind of inverts all of these assumptions. Now, we're not done. We're the start, not the end. But like these three things have come together. The cloud platforms, new builder tools, like developer tools and cloud platforms and things, and generative AI, foundation models, large language models, the capabilities. Like all this stuff is coming together at once, and it's a tipping point. That's my hypothesis. Sounds interesting, right? Well, let's go through some of them. It makes sense. I'll give some examples. You may hate them, but let's see. OK, the first one requires deep domain expertise to design, right? That thing you need like product experts that know a space, or you have to have lived a space and walked in the customer's shoes. So I came up with the craziest thing I could think of, and to start like working with my co-product designer using the Claude 2 model from Anthropic. Does everybody know who Anthropic is? Yes, get some nods. So they're a foundation model provider, a large language model, generative AI company. They're based in San Francisco. They're one of many, and they offer like a chat thing and an API thing and all this cool stuff. So I sat down with their just like public product, and I tapped in the weirdest SaaS business I could think of. I apologize if there's somebody in this business in the crowd. I'd like to create a SaaS application for a veterinary dental practice that serves zoos. Could you write down the core features, the data model, the primary functionality the app should have, and write it in a, and I misspelled this, is that great? Succinct format. And the LLM can correct my work, isn't that great? So it just starts going. Now, I don't claim it's the end of the journey, okay? I just want to make that really, really clear. But I am here to tell you, I know nothing about vets. I know nothing about zoos. I know very little about SaaS. Here are the core features, data model, and primary functionality. Appointment scheduling, patient records, treatment planning and notes, inventory and supply tracking. Yeah, supply tracking, that'd probably be a big deal for a veterinary clinic. I had no idea. Billing and invoicing. It starts in the data model. Patients, name, species, age, gender, appointments, duration, treatments. It goes on and on and on. Now again, that's not everything you need to run a veterinary SaaS, but that's the start. Right? It's something to anchor you on, to move back, to iterate with, a place to test out ideas, a place to take a whole lot of knowledge out in the world and express it. And you'll also note, as I keep going through this, we're also doing the pieces you need to do product definition in SaaS, right? Like, so even if you do know the elephant veterinary thing in zoos, the veterinary thing in zoos, what's the data model? Not a lot of vets also do data modeling, right? So it also has helped translating between the different kind of parts of the product management function where you like understand the domain, but you have to get it written down in a way that developers can pick it up and work with it. Has anybody tried this? Can I get a show of hands? Who's tried some product definition in one of these large language models? Yeah? Get some nods if you had kind of a similar aha, there's something interesting here experience? Yeah, okay, I see a few nods. Okay, it's a little scary as a product manager, I'll tell you that. So I was like, okay, are there any specific features around dental work for elephants and pachyderms? So now we're not just a veterinary, we're a pachyderm dentist. I guess that's teeth and tusks. That'd be a good brand name for the product maybe. Treatment area and sizing, equipment sizing, patient positioning. I guess that matters for an elephant. Diet planning, referrals, all this stuff. I wasn't sure if it was that different from regular dentistry for veterinary dentistry for elephants, but again, there's just a whole lot of knowledge in these things you can start to use to tease out and express all the different pieces, functionality, data models, screens, all the different elements inside of your SaaS app. Let's push it further and see what happens. Does that sound good? Okay. I said, it mentioned some laws and guidelines. And I was like, I don't know anything about dental guidelines in zoos. I don't know about you. So I said, for each of these laws and guidelines, provide specific features our app should include for veterinary dental care for elephants in zoos to comply with these regulations. And then it starts listing a bunch. It's pretty neat. The Animal Welfare Act, AZA accreditation, the DEA controlled substance compliance. I guess if you want to anesthetize an elephant, you're actually going to be inventorying a lot of controlled substances. USDA record keeping, disaster planning. It goes on and on and on. So you could actually imagine a world where you as a SaaS founder or a product owner don't know all the regulatory requirements in some space, can use these tools to start shaping your understanding. I don't claim it's the end of the journey, but I'm willing to bet every product manager in the industry will be working like this in the next 12 months. Okay. Do we feel like we put a little ding in that first one and maybe inverted that assumption? Yes? Ready for number 2? Okay. Number 2, expensive and time-consuming to build with custom code and UI. Remember, it just takes all the time to code. The engineers are taking forever. Well, there's this whole crop of coding assistants that can write code and configure your infrastructure. I'll list all of them that I know about. There's plenty. GitHub Copilot, Tab9 from an Israeli company called Cadota. Replit is a really cool environment, has Ghostwriter built in. And I work for AWS, and we offer something called Amazon Code Whisperer. And it's this free plugin your developers put in VS Code, and it literally just writes code for them. You write a comment on what you want, and bloop, it writes code for you. I don't know about you. I've written the code to parse CSV many times, because your app wants a file import thing, a data import to bootstrap your app. Bloop, it'll just write it for you. It'll write test coverage for you. It'll write IAC, right? Infrastructure as code for Amazon and configure your infrastructure for you. What's coming is things like refactoring code. What's coming is things like correcting errors. You could just really see how all of your developers are going to have this computer agent, Code Whisperer or similar, us helping them write. And they're going to start writing faster and faster. Has anybody played with this, or have your engineers played with a coding assistant like Code Whisperer? Seeing some hands. Yeah. Pretty wild, right? That all this technology, the same technology they can tell us about elephants and zoos, can also write code. It's coming fast, okay? That's number 2. So do you feel like we put a dent in number 2? Yes? Maybe. Let's push even further. So what's also interesting is it's happening in other domains in this UI and front-end space and coding space. Like this one on the left, I think it's Wizard. I think they're in Denmark. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly. They do mocks, AI-assisted mocks. You can wireframe your whole app thing. I don't know what a dental app for elephants and zoos should look like, but it'll help you wireframe it, and it'll just take text to put it in. So that long process of working with design, suddenly you could see it shifting to be assisted and faster. Your cycle time could get really fast between product and design and testing things with customers. Also the web experience for your product. So it might be your product or it might be the web experience for your product. Framer is really cool. So they design websites. Again, I find them really cool. You tap in, type, away you go, and bloop, it builds a beautiful iterative design website for you, and you can iterate on it. Again, pretty amazing. I'm willing to bet your designers and your product marketers are going to be using tools like this to build your products and explain them to your customers really, really soon, like within the next 12 months. Pretty cool. OK, so that's like pin number 2 I wanted to knock over. Expensive and time-consuming to build SaaS with custom code and UI. Oh, it's so hard. Well, maybe it's not going to be pretty soon. Cool, huh? OK, number 3. Difficult for customers to configure, integrate, and extend. Again, maybe it happens a little later in your journey, get a little bigger as a SaaS, but for sure you need that. Your customers have unique use cases and things. Does everybody know what Zapier is? Great story, right? Really cool company. So Zapier, just for the one guy in the zip line that went by that doesn't know, it allows you to have like a SaaS app and allows your customer to like connect it to other things, like connected to Google Sheets or connect like Marketo to HubSpot. Like you just very easily visually connect up your different SaaS apps. So as a SaaS company, it's great for you because your customers can integrate with more things to get a better experience, a better solution that fits their business case, even though you didn't have to go hand build all these integrations. But historically, your customer had to know what a Zapier was and go in and do some clicks and drag and like wire the whole thing up. And it's not crazy hard, but it's just work. It's extra steps. Again, Zapier, I just see this as a user. I'm a fanboy. You see this? You can enter the prompt here. When a customer makes a payment in QuickBooks, find the customer's open deal in HubSpot and then mark it as closed. When someone posts in Discord, like a customer support thing, send me a notification in Slack. After I get a new form submission, like a lead, look for a row corresponding to the submitter's email address in Airtable, and then check submitted. Check the submitted field. Like, this is really cool. This is the kind of like meaty automation stuff that like helps customers get more value out of your SaaS. And you just put a couple lines of a sentence in a Zapier, and away you go. So that's coming really fast, which is pretty exciting. This integration capabilities. It's even wilder. OK, so this thing on the right is a paper. You see this? Like it's LaTeX. It's like from when I went to grad school a million years ago. Toolformer. Language models can teach themselves to use tools. So you're like, research paper. What are you doing with the research paper here? OK, well, it's pretty wild. These researchers played around and discovered, well, we can take a large language model. We can tell it a little bit about APIs and tools it can use. And then when it answers questions or we give it tasks, what we found is it will just go off and use those tools. And in fact, OpenAI has rolled out some of this. Anthropic has rolled out some of this. We've rolled out some of this with our Bedrock AI platform at AWS. And sure enough, just like the Zapier example I gave here, the sort of that they've got in their product, we're going to see even more generally in this ecosystem. I need to get data from HubSpot and go figure it out. The tool is going to go off and figure that out. Pretty exciting. It's coming fast. So I really believe this problem we all see, that like when you get big and there's just all this integration and customization your customers want, it's going to get way easier. Those LLMs, those foundation models, are going to learn how to use your APIs. So your SaaS app is a data model, and you'll have some integration APIs. Well, you want the tools to know how to use your API. So if you're SaaS app, or you're like a vendor to a SaaS app, like I saw some great ones here in the booths here, you want to show up so the foundation models use you as a tool. So I don't know what the marketing event is to market your SaaS service, be a vendor to SaaS companies, but you're going to need to market into Anthropic and into OpenAI and into Bedrock to make sure those tools are using your service. It's kind of a wild world we're in. Pretty neat, pretty exciting. Number 3, took a dent in number 3. OK, number 4. So I thought I'd bring up our favorite, like iconic salesperson, maybe a little dated. Does everybody know who that is? Alec Baldwin from Glengarry Glen Ross. Maybe the ultimate sales guy. He's here from downtown. And it's going to just bang on you because this mental model we have, I think is very fair today, that go to market and all those mechanics are just expensive and labor intensive. And a big chunk of SaaS is that go to market expense, right? OK. I tried to break it down. This is not all of go-to-market. I was looking at this, and I was like, OK, there'd be 100 things. And the world's experts are in the room and on the site here. But I just picked 4. Your marketing function, building content for awareness, it's blog posts, articles, how-tos, sponsored content, interviews, social content, all that, like that world of content. Your companies have to get out there to tell your story and what you do and tell your customers' stories, right? Everybody's familiar with that, right? That big sort of like world of marketing content that has to be created. I have a typo. It says development. Developer me puts everything developer. Your SDRs, like you think about what they do. Like obviously, the gold for an SDR is getting on the phone with a customer, generating a prospect, generating some interest, and getting them to take a call, right? But how do they really do that? They work with giant lists. They do research. They learn a call script. They find techniques that work from them. They compare other people's call scripts and learn how they call. They dial in parallel, like as you can imagine, like AI is now assisting you with the dial and trying to get people to pick up on the phones. They're emailing, cold emailing, doing follow-up emails. They're communicating. Everything I just described is going to get assisted with this ML technology. Like, I just tell you, any SDRs in the room? Okay, I'm willing to bet your SDRs that you work with have every single one of them use Anthropic or ChatGPT or something to write a cold email, because it's good, you know, and it isn't great yet, but it's going to get better, and they'll learn how to use it. So I'm willing to bet it's already happening. You also, as a leader, like not just being so flippant that people are using this to save time. Like, let's say you have a really big pool of SDRs and you're sending out a lot of communication. You do actually want to make sense of, like, we sent 10,000 emails and these 37 worked. Well, LLM, a foundation model, is a perfect way to summarize what was it about these emails, what was it about this kind of interaction, what was it about this pitch, what was it about this hook that really generated interest. So I don't think of it just in a flippant way, like, oh, somebody's like cutting a corner to save time. What a great way to make sense of a really large pool of information and pull the gems out, those insights out, and get all, you know, raise the bar for all of your SDRs and all of your customer interactions. Okay. I see a few AEs in the room, or former AEs in the room that I know. I guess you're all head of sales now. But I'm a little flippant here. AEs, you know, the job is discover, qualify, sort of like shepherd the opportunity through. But what is that really? Like, you know, like you really listen to the customer and you understand their needs. And then you sort of try to translate what your product does into the needs of the customer, like frame it in the needs of the customer. Right? And then there's like a process, like they want a demo, or they want a proof of value, or they want you to answer questions in a questionnaire or security questionnaire or whatever. Shoot, every single one of those things is kind of like summarizing, generating, translating from your arsenal of content and your base of customer stories and translating into a customer story that resonates with the customer. Where else have you used this app in healthcare? Can you support a regulated industry? Are you such and such compliant? Foundation models are going to help you with all of those things. You might have to build or tune your own to go do it, but boy, the role of an AE is going to change when every AE has this assistant to help them with all of these steps in this journey, and maybe even proactively or autonomously doing them on their own. Hey, I'm an agent. I monitored your email. The customer had a security request. I routed it to Bob. I had Bob prepare the questionnaire. I reviewed the questionnaire. I had the questionnaire approved by Bob's, the head of customer success, and I emailed it back to your customer on your behalf. You didn't have to do anything, account exec. I think it's coming fast. Okay, and then sales engineers, and you know, as the techie in me loves, it's like, you know, that demonstration. You know, like one of the key things in my mind of like selling SaaS software is really showing it to the customer, like either like a demo or giving them their own test environment that's like customized for them. And think about how the more you could like tune it for them, it would really speak to them and their needs. Like you would hear their requirements and then not just give them your generic software. You'd preload data, you'd pre-configure screens, you would like set up the workflow or the automation or whatever. You'd kind of set it up in the team structure. You'd set it up in a way that made sense for them. Well, it's the same thing as the coding stuff I just told you. So sales engineers, their ability to show and articulate the value of your product to customers, same thing, it's going to change like that. Pretty wild, right? Kind of amazing, the techie to stand up at a SaaStr and say GTM is going to change overnight. So don't throw anything, but I am trying to be provocative here. So again, this is, if you don't know, I'm surprised nobody knows Glengarry Glen Ross. Go see this scene immediately. That's Mid-Journey generated of Alec Baldwin selling something to us from downtown. And I really believe, you know, I walked around the booths and I saw a little bit of generative AI in there. And I'm willing to bet next year every single booth is going to have their generative AI features. Okay? Because I'm willing to bet all of your teams are already experimenting with all this stuff. I saw some hands in the reps and the SDRs and the playing with Anthropic and ChatGPT and stuff. So it's coming really, really fast. And I believe it's going to change the space pretty significantly. So I'm calling this the inversion of SaaS with generative AI. Like lots of stuff we take for granted, it's just going to change in really big, really fast ways. And that's awesome because it creates amazing opportunities for all of you. Like just think about that. If you could, every step of the process of building and getting SaaS to market is going to change. I didn't say the whole thing just instantly a single button. But like every one of those 4 hard areas we looked at looks like it's going to get faster, it's going to get easier, you're going to get help doing it. You know, you could take on domains that aren't your expertise. So I believe there's never been a better time to build a SaaS business. Like I know like the market's down and all this stuff, but there's never been a better time to build a SaaS business. Because again, your ability to build it, to understand customer needs, to get it to market, to support customer requirements, extend them, is pretty soon is never going to be easier than it was. Will be easier than it's ever been before. Okay. I have only one plug for my company, AWS. We're here to help. So just like we're a great vendor to many SaaS companies and probably many, maybe most, I don't know, many of you here, we're full steam ahead in this generative AI space with investments like CodeWhisper, like our foundation model ecosystem called Bedrock, where we offer your choice of lots of different foundation models, all the way to building custom models, your own custom models with products like SageMaker. We've been doing ML for like 20 years. These new models and capabilities that are emerging are absolutely wild, so we're making sure we offer them to all of you. We even have some investment programs and some enablement programs. So there's a QR code, take a picture. There's a lot of actually cool links and resources there for your SaaS company. If any of those challenges look good and you want to tackle them, we're here to help. Okay? Get a picture if you need it. Awesome. We've set up 4 things. I hopefully it was provocative, and I'm happy to take some questions. Thanks, everybody, for coming today. There are mics. If you have a question, please just hop up. Don't be shy. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Hop up.
So a lot of the stuff that you spoke about is indicating towards agents, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, how do you think the framework for autonomous agents are going to be built? Because you need
a framework for autonomous agents.
So you need a framework that most folks follow, the protocol that allows different agents to communicate, a messaging protocol, so on and so forth. How do you think that's going to happen? Is it going to be
Could
big
everybody
tech?
hear the question? Yeah, what's the framework for agents, the protocol? It's a wild west right now.
Yep.
There's some really neat things that are popular, like LangChain. There are many more things coming that look super interesting. In my personal work, I just tell you with my personal work, my team's work, it's still really early. Getting the basics of an agent is actually not that complex. The prompt, the context, the retrieval augmented generation, some error checking and feedback. What's interesting is if you're trying to get to production and you want to manage some set of agents you have, well, the foundation models are changing. Your customers are trying different things. So I think there's a really interesting space around testing and keeping hygiene of your fleet of agents. Your code at rest is no longer just stable. It's kind of stochastic, which means you need to have good wrappers around it. I have no opinion on exactly what runtime wrapper for agents is going to win. There's a lot of cool stuff out there.
But do you think the time is now, or it's still too early?
Oh, everyone is building agents now. Yes.
Yeah,
oh, yes,
but no common framework is there.
Sorry, correct, with no common framework.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for the talk. I'd be curious to know, in your estimation, where do you think the biggest barrier is right now? What wall would fall down and suddenly enable a huge rush of people being able to build applications without the expertise?
Yeah, to build applications specifically in that part. As best I can tell, none of the coding assistants out there, including our own CodeWhisper, are currently good enough to write an entire full-stack SaaS app, add features, mutate it, and add over time. The context windows are kind of small. The ways you can implement an app are varied. Like, you all have very different code bases. My personal belief is that with a narrow, like, 2 things are going to happen. The models are going to get bigger and more capable, right? Which is cool. Like, take more context, understand your entire code base, understand your company's code base. We have a product called CodeWhisper Enterprise coming, which understands your company's code base. But then the other thing that's going to happen is people are going to break down the problems into smaller pieces. So they're either going to use high-level abstractions. So for example, we have the Amplify library from Amazon. My team runs this. Like authentication, data storage, pre-wired components. That's not the only way to do those things. But you can do those things in a line or two that the foundation model has to manipulate rather than 1,000 lines of code for authentication. So I think two things are going to happen. The models are going to get better, and then people are going to apply them to more focused, constrained problems.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you for the provocative approach. Do you saw the example when, let's say, AI solution working could help in the multi-language customer support when we could replace with the AI, let's say, at least first level of the support, because most of the request is like not a problem, it's like it's not an issue, just information request.
So just make sure I understand. So will it help a SaaS company's ability to service its customers that work in many different natural languages, human languages?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, utterly. I mean, the language translation stuff is something the foundation model is doing very, very well at. They're doing it in text, they're doing it in spoken word. So yeah, I don't know how that'll show up in support systems. Like, will that show up in Discord built in or something? I have no idea. But for sure, that's a hot area. Our Connect product, which is a call center product that we have at Amazon, has a lot of like multi-language support and ML capabilities being built in. So I like, as one vendor in that space, yeah, for sure, we're doing that.
It's like in progress, means nothing done.
Well, it's only in progress if we all work on it. But yeah, I can't speak to every vendor in the space, but for sure that's a hot area because I think the foundation models are doing a great job at natural language translation.
Okay, and how far we are from the text to text to speech to speech to speech?
I don't know. I'm not a domain expert in that space, but there are products today that say they do that. So.
Okay, thank you much.
Yeah, cheers. One more in the back. Yes, sir.
Hi, thank you for the talk. I may be not fully up to speed on what AWS offers right now, but I'm wondering what is offered as far as LLMs that are maybe kind of at the forefront of the capabilities around ChatGPT and so on, that address the issue of security and not wanting to feed in data into,
Yep. So our approach at AWS is offer a product called Bedrock. So Bedrock is foundation model as a service. You can go into the AWS console. You could say, I would like a foundation model for my application. We offer a choice of dozens, I think I can say more than a dozen, dozens of foundation models, including Anthropic, Claude Instant, Claude 2, A121, Cohere, your choice. We don't have OpenAI. They're exclusive on other platforms. We kind of have everything else, including like open source models and Llama and stuff. And what's really neat is you get your own private instance in a VPC. And we don't train off your data. If you fine tune the model, those weights don't go to any other customer. So our approach has been offer lots of models and then let customers just pick one API and then you can switch which model you want to use. You asked the second part of the question is, when will your model be as good as the latest of OpenAI? We have announced publicly very large models called Titan. A series of Titan models, and each model gets better. And we're in market with one of this size, and we got bigger ones coming. So it's a competitive horse race for sure. But we're super excited. You can come in and just try dozens of different models and see which one fits your need. I'll offer one more thing also, which is when you look at models, you got to look at the capability for your use case and the cost. And some of the best models are amazing, but then there's $7 queries, and your business use case may not support every click a customer does, that being $7 on your bill. So you definitely got to look at that trade-off between cost and capability when you evaluate what you want to do.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I think we're done. Did we invert SaaS? Some assumptions about SaaS? Okay. Thanks, everybody.